is my favourite thing in the collection. It's the officer's sash worn by then Captain Charles Paisley, who served in the Corps during the Napoleonic War. He was present at the retreat to Corunna under Sir John Moore. There's a family story that the sash was used to lower the body of Sir John Moore when he was killed at the battle into his grave. And as lots of military uniform has, it has the bloodstains of Paisley when he was wounded, wearing it at the Siege of Flushing. But it means more than just a piece of uniform that this officer wore, because it really symbolises his experience as an active young officer. Paisley was very interested in the formation and training of the army. In 1808, when he was really out with Sir John Moore's army in Spain, he started to write a treatise on how the British engineers and the army in general could be better put together, how it could be better organised and better trained. And then in 1809, he goes up to the Netherlands, partakes in another catastrophic campaign of the British Valkyrien expedition, and his book's published at the same time. It goes to 4 editions and is even read by Jane Austen, who exclaims that he must be one of the finest military men that she's ever heard of. And the Netherlands, a completely disastrous campaign for the British. They're riddled with disease, bad planning, and Paisley himself, writing to his fellow engineers, constantly complains about the lack of experience or enthusiasm of his senior officers. They're just not up to the job that they're being asked to do, mirroring his thoughts on the retreat from Corunna. At Flushing, however, Paisley leads a successful attack on the city. He's one of the first people leading the main British attack, and he's badly wounded. And in the collection here we have a fantastic letter from one of his friends to another of his friends, where they describe the action where he's wounded. They say that our dear friend Paisley is badly wounded. He struck one Frenchman, disarmed a second, and stabbed a third when he fell. What a desperate dog. From there, he survives his wounds, but he's too badly, they're too serious to enable him to continue active service. So he's posted back to Plymouth and is put in charge of a company of Royal Sappers and Miners, where he starts to implement his ideas on how the Royal Engineers should be trained to fulfil their almost new role of supporting Wellington's armies in the actual campaigns and in theatre. This coincides with a few significant events which really prompt and change the minds of the British hierarchy, military hierarchy, to agree that their engineers do need to be better trained. So the Siege of Badajoz, which was a success for the British, but at a very high casualty rate. And in his dispatch, Wellington actually says that I can't be expected to carry out successful sieges unless I have a fully trained body of military engineers that know what they're doing. He accepted that they were very brave, but that they weren't skilled in doing those kind of sieges. And also in Paisley's company of sappers and miners being posted to Wellington's army, Wellington's so impressed by the level of training that they've received that when the military hierarchy decide to found the Royal Engineers establishment for training of officers and NCOs, they put Paisley in charge of it. Then over the next 20 to 30 years, he writes all of the curriculums for the engineers in training. He starts to experiment himself in underwater electric fuses and in early military diving, and really goes to be almost father of the Corps, certainly in their ethos of the Victorian engineers being interested in everything and being the very best military engineers that they could be. And really, all of that is down to Paisley as an active young officer, learning from experience and learning not how to do it. And all of that is bundled up and put into this sash for us here at the museum.